Hi guys, my name is Federico and I'm going to tell you a little bit today about my career in technology. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself before we get started. Um, I graduated from Georgia Tech. I'm sure you guys have heard of Georgia Tech. It's a school that really focuses on technology. It's a really big engineering school, lots of computer science, engineering like mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, lots of really super smart people that go there. And they're working on the stuff of the future. Really, it's really a cool place to study if you guys ever get a chance to go there. So I went to Georgia Tech. I just recently graduated, and I um, I studied industrial design. And you may want to know, okay, well, what's industrial design? Industrial design is the design of products for people to use. For example, every phone, every piece of electronic equipment, really anything that you interact with from day to day, somebody has thought about how the product looks, how it feels, how it functions, and that's what an industrial designer does. For example, I just went to Google and looked up images for industrial design, and you can see in industrial design you do a lot of drawing. That's how you communicate ideas and thoughts. You think about the easiest way to show somebody something is just to draw it. So you have to learn how to draw in perspective, make things look realistic. You can see all these sketches here. This person was drawing chairs, and they're probably designing a chair that's very comfortable and easy to sit in. For example, this person was designing a bike, and you can see how really different it is from maybe what a traditional bike looks like. Industrial designers design cars. They're the people responsible for designing the outside of cars. So it's really a very cool and very broad kind of major. You can do anything from clothing design to car design to consumer electronics. You can do some graphic design along there as well. And you can also do some software design, which is what I ended up kind of gravitating towards. While I was going through school, I really fell in love with software and computers, and that kind of led me down the path of becoming a software developer. So I ended up graduating and getting a job as a software developer for a company called MailChimp. And I'll show you here. This is our company's website. And what we do is we allow businesses to send emails to their customers whenever they want to get in touch with them. For example, if you were to go to a store and you bought something, the store sometimes asks you for your email address, and then maybe a few weeks later, when the store's having a sale, they'll email you and be like, "Hey, we have a sale going on. Come check it out," or "Here's a coupon online that you can use." But if you think about it, think about a store like Target. Like a lot of people shop at Target, right? Millions and millions of people, so they have millions of email addresses. So you can't really go into Gmail and start typing a million email addresses to send an email to somebody. So you have to use a tool like MailChimp that allows you to send a whole bunch of emails at one time to send your message out there. And one of the things that we've done, if you see here, MailChimp is kind of fun. It's silly. This is our mascot, Freddie von Chimpenstein, and what MailChimp has tried to do is try to make something that's really usually very boring, which is sending emails. You're like, oh, sending emails, it's kind of lame, boring, whatever. We tried to make it fun. Freddie will tell you jokes sometimes when you're in the application, and I'll log in and show you guys in a second what it kind of looks like. This is our website, and this is where people learn about MailChimp, and then you can actually use the application by logging in. And I'll show you here. This is what the actual application looks like. So for example, you can go in here, you can make an email campaign, and you can select this is the list of all the people that you can send it to, and I'll show you how. Let's just put some gibberish in there for now, and I'll show you how you can actually what an email would look like. So here you get to pick your template. For example, if it's the holidays, we can say, okay, we want to send a 4th of July themed template. So you select this one, and here you see your email campaign, and you can start editing. For example, you can, let's go forward here. You can click here and start saying Happy 4th of July, come over for a party and celebrate. So you save it now, and then eventually, once you go through this whole process, you can hit send, and MailChimp will deliver that email to all million people or however many people you decided to send it to. So this is what I do. I work on MailChimp in the application, and it's really a lot of fun. Like I'll tell you a little bit more about my day and what I do during the day, and I think you'll be a little surprised. So in terms of the education that you need to become a software developer, it really ranges a lot. There's some really amazing people that will teach themselves how to program, and they'll start at a very, very young age. By the time they're you guys' age, they'll know how to program a few things. I don't know if you guys have heard, but there's a few kids that are in middle school that are writing and building iPhone games and iPad apps and stuff. You don't need a college degree to become a software developer, and the reason being is because of the internet, how many things are out there to help you guys learn. If you guys wanted to learn how to program, it's super easy to find things on how to get started programming. There's a ton of help and resources out there, and it's really a lot of fun. So if you guys ever want to give it a shot, it's just a Google search away. So even though it's so easy to learn, a lot of places will require you to have a college degree in a related field. For example, if you want to be a computer programmer, you might want to study computer science or computer engineering or electrical engineering, even industrial design to some extent. We deal a lot with designing user interfaces, which is all this stuff that you get to deal with, like buttons and how it works and what happens when I hit this button, like like people's expectations of what should happen and stuff. So if you want to become a software programmer and you want to get a job, and you want to get a job that pays really well and a really cool company, you really should get a college degree. And we're lucky that here in Georgia we have Georgia Tech, which is an amazing school for computer science. So if you guys are interested in becoming software developers, Georgia Tech is a great place to go and learn about it. So in terms of a typical day for me, you'd be surprised to hear that at our job we have, let's see, I'll tell you a few of the things we have. We have an Xbox and a PlayStation. We have couches everywhere. We have TVs where we can play video games. We have a ping pong table, a professional ping pong table, which is really freaking cool. We have a pool table that was just put in. We have soda fountains. It's really, really, really a fun place to work. People are hanging out, kind of relax. Everything is very laid back. For example, during the mornings, I'll work at a desk, and instead of having a traditional desk like a cubicle, I have a stand-up desk. So it's something that instead of sitting all day, I'll be standing up at my computer working, because it's a little bit healthier and it's fun, and you get to kind of move around. So I usually do that in the morning, and then in the afternoon, we have a really cool meeting room, which is called the Paula Deen Room. And the reason why it's called the Paula Deen Room is because there is a huge picture of Paula Deen. I don't know if you guys know who she is. She's a very famous chef. There's a picture of Paula Deen riding a stick of butter, and somebody thought it would be funny to make that, so they made this painting of her, and it's sitting there in the middle of the meeting space. And there's a few couches in there. So in the afternoon, I'll go in there, put my headphones on, turn on some music, and just hang out on the couch and work, which is really cool, because instead of feeling like you're at work, kind of doing the daily grind, as adults call it. I'm just kind of hanging out on the couch, listening to music, doing my thing, programming. So in terms of the things that I use to do my job, it's actually the two most important things are my computer and the internet. So one of the cool things about being a software developer, especially if you're a web developer, is that you don't have to be at a specific place to do your job. Like, if you're a mailman, the only way you can get your job done is by going to work, getting in your car, in your little mail truck, and going around and delivering the mail, right? If you're not there, the mail doesn't get delivered, you don't get paid. Simple as that. For me, as long as I have a computer and an internet connection, I can pretty much work from anywhere. Sometimes I work from home, sometimes I work from a coffee shop, sometimes I'll go in the office. So this is really cool because if you're not the kind of person that likes having to do the same thing every day, like, you guys have to go to school every day, and that's something that, you have to do, but eventually, some people have to go to work every day. I don't have to physically go to work. That doesn't mean that I don't have to work. It's very different because, I get a ton of stuff done, whether I'm hanging out at home or I'm in the office, but you don't have to be at the office, which is actually really cool. So, in the afternoons, I'll hang out, start programming. For example, I use an internet browser a lot, pretty much all the time, because, when I'm working on software, and I'll tell you a little bit, let's just talk about what software is. I'm sure you guys have used Microsoft Word or PowerPoint. That's what you guys are learning in Ms. Hoffman's class. So those things are software applications, and software helps you do a certain task. For example, Microsoft Word helps you write papers. Microsoft PowerPoint helps you do presentations. You can use Paint to make graphics and pictures, right? Those are very, very well-known software applications. So on the other scope of things are software applications that live on the web. So you basically go to a website and access these things to get your work done. For example, there's a lot of people and a lot of companies that their job is to make email campaigns to send through MailChimp. So they'll basically be on their browser all day, logged onto this, working on stuff. So I use my browser a lot. For example, I use Google Chrome. There's a whole bunch of browsers. There's Microsoft Internet Explorer, there's Apple Safari, there's Mozilla Firefox, and there's Google Chrome. I've been using Google Chrome. I think it's kind of cool. I like the way it looks, and it's really fast, which is kind of awesome. The other thing that I use a lot to actually program is a text editor. And let me slide over here and I'll show you guys what that looks like. And a text editor is basically a very simplified version of Microsoft Word. Programming is really all about writing words. So you're telling the computer to do stuff based on the things that you type on the screen. For example, here I'm saying, this DEF means define a function. This is something that, it's a little piece of source code that does something, right? So this is the update function, and in here I'm telling it, okay, save the password if there's a password present, blah, blah, blah. There's a whole bunch of different complicated things that I'm doing. But basically what I'm doing is I'm writing things, and the computer, once I run this code, the computer will basically read it, understand what it means, and do something with respect to it. For example, you can see that all this is pretty pictures and colors, but in reality, what I'm really working on is just text that tells the computer, okay, display my logo here, make a button here. When you click this button that says save and exit, take me to a different page. Then when I get to that page, tell me what I'm showing you. Okay, right. Basically, you're telling the computer every single thing you have to do. When I hover over this, show these buttons, etc., etc. So, so basically, what I'm doing most of the day is I'm looking at source code, figuring out how it works, figuring out what I need to tell the computer to do, what I want it to do. So, for example, I'll show you guys an application that I've been working on lately. It's called Reply To. And basically, it's an application to view email and do certain things to email on your browser. So what I've had to do is I've had to think about, okay, what do I want this to look like? How do I want it to behave? And then actually code it. So for example, I have come up with a wireframe. This is what's called a wireframe, which is what basically I get to design what a screen looks like before I program it. So first I design it. So I'll decide, okay, I want it to look like this. I wanted to have these buttons. I wanted to say rules and stats and all these things, and I want to have a button here, right? I think about these things. I'll sit there and I'll actually draw on paper first. I'll make sketches, make prototypes, and then once I kind of have a good idea of what I want to do, I'll actually put it on. I'll use Adobe Illustrator, which is kind of like Microsoft Paint, and I'll come in here and I'll build these boxes, put the text in so that I can get a really good idea of what it looks like. So once I get to this point, I start programming. And if you see here, you can see this page called Rules, and you can see the rules that kind of correspond with what's on the screen here. So basically, I'm programming most of the day, thinking about what I need to do, coming up with ideas, making prototypes, and then actually programming them. In terms of when I knew I wanted to do this, I've always been really interested in computers. My dad owned a computer store when I was little, so I've kind of been exposed to it for a long time. But really, what kind of did it for me was when the iPhone came out. You know, it was such an amazing and cool device. I don't know if you guys remember, but before the iPhone, all phones were just little crappy black and white screens, didn't really do anything, super boring, and then the iPhone came out and it was just amazing. So once the iPhone came out and I saw what kind of software it had and it was so beautiful and pretty, I was like, man, that's what I really, 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 really want to do. So through school, like about halfway through college, I realized, well, you know, I think I want to be a software developer. So I kind of started doing all the projects that I was in school. I was kind of focusing on doing user interface design and software development. So that was a little bit about my day and what I do. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, I'd be more than glad to answer them. Just ask Mrs. Hoffman how you can get in touch with me, and thanks for watching.